Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying. You know that song is like a riff from, what's it called? There's a song called, is it Crying? No. But it has that same tune. It's like, why you always... It's like a 90s song.
It's like on the tip of my... I know what song it is. I just can't think of what it is.
It's like, why you... No, we'll get copyright.
It's like, I'm so excited. It's something like that. I can't remember like what the thing is though, like the hook.
Comment down below. Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. We're back.
Ooh, we're back. So Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
That little riff in the beginning.
I dig it.
Mm-hmm. It's a little intro to what we're going to talk about today.
It's a hint to you guys right there.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about lying.
Talk about lying.
Lying bitches. Lying sluts.
Lying hoes.
We'll delete this part. Lying cunts.
We're not deleting that part.
I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and he had on Annie and Whitney Cummings, and they were talking about the word cunt and how it's like the C word. We'll say the C word. We'll bleep out whatever I said right there.
We'll bleep that part out. But the C word.
The C word, and how it has like a T at the end, and it's just so sharp, and it's like when you hear it, it's like, whoa.
See you next Tuesday.
And how I think it's like in New England or in certain parts of the world, like they use that word so loosely, like, oh, she's a good C word, she's a good this, or he's a C word, and explicit, and they just use it so sparingly.
Whereas in here, much more for Americans, it's like,
whoa,
way more harsh and like, you know,
like cutthroat. But nope. So we're talking about lying today.
We are. Because everyone lies.
If you've been lied to, raise your hand. If you've been victimized by Regina George, raise your hand. No, I think that George just raised his hand.
Our producer in the back raised his hand too.
Ugh.
Can you think of like growing up, like one of like the first times like someone lied to you and like, whoa, like?
Oh yeah. So we live in Yuma, which is kitty corner to kind of a little bit of everything. You know, we're 3 hours away from Phoenix, 2.5 from the beach, you know, San Diego, minutes away from Mexico. And I probably was like 8 years old, 7 or 8. And my parents, we're kind of considered a border town. Live like 20, 30 minutes away from the border. My parents, they were getting more comfortable kind of seeing what's out there and stuff. They had moved, you know, they've only been in Yuma for like 5 years, so they were like, let's see what this is about, let's see where the area is, let's see how far things are from here. And they were kind of like, you know, exploring. Well, when I was like around 7 or 8, we went to, it was a Sunday, I remember. We went to just San Luis, Mexico, and I remember it was like any other Sunday. I think we started coming into the habit of going to Mexico every Sunday just to like have dinner, breakfast, dinner, and that was it, and you come back. Well, that day was different. That day, it was, for lack of better words, a shit show. A shit show.
Indeed.
And we had the Bronco. And let me tell you about the Bronco. The Bronco is this like Caddyshack, 1990 something, you know, prehistoric O.J. Simpson kind of thing.
Oh yeah. It's very famous.
It's a very famous, and it was red and with big wheels, and it just was, you know, it was sketch to the point where it's like, this is gonna turn off, you know. I don't think it's gonna last. It was older than my sister. My sister, she's 20. She was a 96 baby. This car was older than her.
Oh no.
Like, this was my dad's baby. This was my dad's dream car, and that's like something he cherished a lot, you know. Well, we decided to, this Sunday, we happened to be in the Bronco, and my mom, for some reason, instead of like, I think it was my mom or my dad, I can't remember who was driving, but instead of, you know, going the usual way back home, we were going the opposite way. And I was just like, well, this is a long while. Like, why do we keep driving it? I don't see the border from now, you know? And as a kid, you start catching on. When something's not right or something's a little bit different or off, you're like, whoa, like, let me start asking questions. What's this about? So I started asking, like, hey, Mom, aren't we supposed to go back? Or that's that way, this and that. No, and she did this. She's like, no, yeah, watch. Right now, we're going this way. But, like, just wait. You're gonna see the swap meet. We're gonna go around the corner right now, and the swap meet's gonna be right there. And she's talking about, you know which swap meet I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, she tried to finesse me and tell me, no, we're going the opposite way. We're actually going towards the States. I'm like, I don't think that's right. I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right. No, if we're going the opposite way, I would have remembered a guy in uniform asking me sketch questions, like, you know.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
And that hadn't happened. I was like, did we skip that part? Is that a thing still?
They just decided to stop halfway. It's like, oh, we don't need to do that anymore.
We don't need to do that anymore. It's like, no, I don't think that's right. You know, that doesn't sound right.
This doesn't look familiar.
Yeah, and we just kept driving straight, and I knew something was off. My brother and sister in the back, you know, they're fucking snoring and shit. They carry less, but I was the freaked out one, because I was like, no, like, I got school tomorrow.
I need to be somewhere.
I got school tomorrow. Like, I cannot miss second grade, you know. And what ended up happening, we picked up a few characters, actually. Yeah,
hitchhikers?
My parents picked up 2 hitchhikers, but not at the same time. This was like, we picked up one and we dropped one off, and then we picked up another one and then dropped him off. But it was like, because I didn't know this at the time, but they were going to El Golfo. That's where it was. That's where they were. But they didn't say shit. And I'm like, you have me freaked out in the back seat, and you're telling me I'm not stupid, Mom. Like, it's not around the corner. I would have remembered a guy in uniform asking me questions and nothing happened, you know? And so that was a lie. And she was picking up sketch people who just, like, would gift her shrimp, you know, in a bag. And I'm like, what's going on here?
You're already in a sketchy car. Now you're getting sketchy people, and your parents could care less.
They could care less. They're like, no, we're gonna be. You're gonna see it right now. Watch. And I'm waiting and waiting for around the corner. There was never a turn. Let me just say that there was never a turn. I would poke my head out. I didn't sleep one bit, and the car turned off a few times.
Oh no.
And finally, I remember we didn't stay long. Once we got to where my parents wanted to get, we didn't stay long. We literally just kind of got our feet wet. I wrote in the sand, I remember, I miss Yuma. I'm not kidding. I wrote that.
Hint. I want to go home.
It was such a hint. And it's like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Like, that's what I was thinking.
I've been kidnapped. I'm in the Bronco.
So when we get back, we're standing in line, and it's nighttime, like pitch black dark, like it is now. And we get tortas before, and because we were starving, and then we were in line. Well, no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I just remember this part, but it's funny. Go on.
So then this guy like tries to cut off my dad in line, and so my dad like slams his brakes, which makes me sit on my torta. The one thing that brought joy to my day, the one thing I was hoping for, waiting for my guests, like we're on the right track. Like we came back and I got my torta. I'm in line, and not for it all to be ruined by slamming of the brakes and me sitting my ass on my sandwich. I was just so devastated, and I did shed a tear, and luckily no one was hurt, you know, but fuck, I was pissed. I had avocado on my butt. And this is before like avocado was like a big like woo thing, you know. And yeah, I was lied to, guys. We didn't go to the swap meet that day.
We weren't going back home. What was like the whole reason for them just not saying the truth? Like, why did they have to lie?
I have no idea. They're suspicious people. They really are. And I think a part of it is maybe adventure or thrill. Like they get some thrill out of it. Like who knows? They probably wanted something different, something unexpected, something unpredictable, which I got. I don't know. Maybe some self-gratification from that.
I was gonna say they just didn't want to hear you like screaming the whole time. Like, we'll just tell her we're going home. She'll stop asking questions. But no, you were like, no, I know we're not going home. This is clearly not the way.
I was totally aware. They think kids are stupid. Kids aren't stupid. Parents, I think, are like, oh, they're not paying attention. I remember when I was younger, my sister and I would spend the summers in California with my aunt and my grandparents. And oh man, my grandma, she's got the scoop. She knows everything about everyone. And she was just talking about so and so and cousin this, cousin that, and this aunt and the father and the baby daddy and child support.
That child support.
And I remember we're supposed to be watching TV, right? We're in the living room, and the way the living room is set up is kind of like a horseshoe shape. The kids are in the middle or more towards the left, the adults more towards the right. And I remember, like, I'm supposed to be watching TV, but like they're talking really good tea. They're talking about one of my cousins and like fathering kids and, you know, paternity tests and shit. And I couldn't help it, but like I was just my ears lit up and I was just like listening in. I'm like, ooh, and then I would turn over just a little bit and they're like, watch TV. I'm like I'm like, you bitches, you guys are talking shit and you're telling me to watch TV. Fuck you guys.
Exactly.
You know? But yeah, just like that secret or that, I don't know, that need to hide shit. Why? What do you think?
Why? I think it's because it's like
lying, like you're protecting. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes people approach it like maybe they're like, I can protect maybe my friend or my kid or whatever by not just saying this, like oh, why isn't dad home? Like, oh, he's on a business trip, when really he's ran off with his mistress a week ago.
Oh,
you know, like you can picture things like that where it's like, how do I? And I think that's the hard thing too. Like in those scenarios, like how do you explain like a really harsh truth to someone? Like think of it like as a kid, you know, like oh, why are we moving? Well, it's like, oh, well, I lost my job because I stole, $10,000 from them, and we have to move now.
Like,
you know,
to explain that.
yeah, like how,
like sugar coating.
yeah, like I can tell you that up front, or it's like, oh, it's just we need to move.
Mm-hmm.
You just instead of saying something very blanket. So it's like, I think it's like, part of it's like a shame for like parents for that part where it's like, how do I say this, like, because it's like, how do I admit to my kid I'm flawed? I don't want them to think that of me. I don't want anyone else to think that of me.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that parents think that they'll feel judgment from their kids, or that they'll throw it back at them when they get older. For the most part, I think, even though we're shitty kids, we could be shitty. We could throw shit back at our parents. I do think that there is some form of empathy that kids have towards their parents, where it's like, okay, that was a shitty thing to do. Would I do it with my kids? Probably not. But I can see and understand your decision and the choices you made, considering the circumstances you were given, you know? And the thing about lying, like, I almost think that some parents might do it. They have different motives, you know. Some parents have a egotistical motive, where it's like, no, I have to look good. I have to keep on this persona because that constitutes as respect. That gives me authority. That grants me, you know, some class in society. That gives me this oomph and this kind of head start in life. So they hold on to that. And then, but there's this other part where it's like, it's so fucking complicated, I don't even know where to begin. Let me just lie to them and give them this half truth, just to you know, make it less complicated for them. But I think that also takes away from asking questions and pursuing the truth, you know. But yeah.
So it's like they really just kind of like hinder the whole experience of like growing up and learning something, to be like, oh, hey, I took this away out of it, versus like, no, you decided I should just be kept in the dark and not know anything about this. You know, like, you don't, it's almost like maybe in a messed up way, it's like, I don't trust my kids
to know.
Yeah.
They're going to turn it against me, or God knows what they're going to do with this information. They'll report me. You know, there has to be some family that like knows some deep dark shit and they won't say anything.
Oh yeah, there's always those things where it's like, you know, like, oh, here's our cousin who shot someone, but he's hiding out in Texas with my aunt, but we won't say that though. Like, we can't say that because then someone could, like, my friend could tell the cops.
Interesting.
Or like my little brother, that's wait, it's there's always that, there's those one scenarios where like there's like the youngest sibling of the household, right?
Yeah.
And the whole secret is, it's like,
it's not the father.
He's not really, his mom's not his mom. His mom's his grandma, and his sister is his mom.
Oh, and that dynamic has been played over, you know, in movies, in telenovelas, you know.
Oh yeah, it's I saw like a Lifetime after school special where like the girl was like, "Oh, it's my little brother." It's like, "No, it's my son. I changed schools so no one would suspect anything."
Oh my god.
It was the plot of a Tyler Perry movie one time, you know. But that stuff gets inspired because it's like it happens in those scenarios, you know.
The recent news, did you hear about that Russian girl who got assaulted, and she was like 13 and just bore a child?
No.
And her baby daddy's like 11 years old. That's like a whole separate tangent, but yeah. But her baby daddy isn't really the baby daddy. Like, it's more of her boyfriend that's like, I'll take care of it.
So the girl's 13, and they're saying allegedly the baby daddy is this 11-year-old kid,
Yes.
but the girl has a boyfriend though.
The girl's boyfriend is the 11-year-old guy. So
Uh-huh.
legitimately he's not the baby daddy, but he came out and said, "No, I'm going to claim it to be my own. She's
He's like,
my girlfriend."
This will be my
Yeah.
That's a tough 11-year-old, but like you're 11. Well, a lot of things wrong have just happened in this scenario.
Yeah, because apparently the real baby daddy was like 16 above age, and it was a big no-no in Russia.
Oh my! I had not heard that at all.
So imagine trying to explain that to your kid. Okay, there we go. Like, put that in a scenario. Try and explain that to a kid. Where do you begin? You can't say I was raped, and I mean you could, but
It's true, and that's kind of one of those scenarios where it's like you can empathize with the parent lying in that extent, because like how do I begin to say like this thing happened, and like not that I don't love you and like you're my child, but like it was, here's the awful truth of like what happened.
Because then she's gonna be like, "Mom, how come?" Like her daughter's gonna, or son's gonna be 13 when she's 26. 20, I know 26-year-olds who have no plans of having kids at any point. You know, any time of day, they're not thinking about that. Like that's not their vision in life. And this person is gonna be 26 and have a 13-year-old kid next to her.
That's insane.
It could be a best friend. I've heard of that, where like parents become like their kid's legitimate best friend.
Oh yeah, it's the whole premise of Gilmore Girls, where the mom got pregnant at 16 and grew up with her daughter basically.
Oh yeah, and then they just like had fun adventures and shit. How about you? What are your experiences with lying, Xavier?
I want to I have a funny, not funny, it wasn't funny at the time, but I'm going to tell you about an experience with my friends.
Oh?
So I have this really good friend, right? One of my best friends. His name is, insert here. His name is Marquise Hendricks. You may remember him from an earlier episode with his lovely donation, right? We were able to buy this equipment. Thank you again, Marquise.
Thank you, Marquise. Sponsors.
But the thing was, I think like 2 years ago, it was his birthday, and I texted him like, "Oh, hey, happy birthday! What do you have planned?" And he texted me, "Oh, I really don't have much planned. Would you like to go hang out? We can do something." I'm like, "Oh, sure, sounds good." And this was like early in the day. This was like at noonish. We had texted, and I said, "Okay, probably like in the evening we'll meet up and we'll do something, whatever. We'll hang out." And I think like by like 4 p.m. I'd gotten a text where he said, "I'm tired. I'm not feeling really up to it. I'm just gonna relax in bed." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. No problem. Like, it's your birthday. You can do whatever you want." And then I think I still went to go hang out with some friends and stuff that day. And I remember I was at Walmart like at midnight. And I was scrolling through Instagram of a mutual friend of ours. And I click on their story and I'm like, wait a minute. Who's that in the background right there? Is that Marquise?
And the story?
Yeah, so this whole other person, like I opened their Instagram story, I'm like, what that? Well, that was just a few hours ago, and that's Marquise right there, drinking and hanging out at someone's house with people, and that doesn't look like his room. And I'm like, wow, you You just lied to me, man.
Why the fuck you lying?
Lying. And I'll admit, like, at the moment, I was really hurt because I was like, what the fuck? And I texted him the next day or a day after.
Listen here, bitch.
Listen here, bitch. And no, I asked him, oh, hey, how'd your birthday go? He's like, oh, it was great. I talked to my parents. I just had a little bit of dinner in my room and I went to bed pretty early. I'm like, and that's it? Yeah. That's interesting. Really interesting. And it doesn't stop there.
Oh.
So on multiple more occasions after that, let's say I'd want to hang out or do something. He's like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm in my room playing PlayStation right now. I'm taking an easy day inside. Okay. 10 minutes later, on someone else's Instagram, you're at a restaurant right now, eating, having a drink right now. Your room looks very spacious. And it would happen again, like 2 or 3 more times. It would just like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm staying.
But you'd bottle it up, right?
Yeah, like, and my whole thing is like, I've never confronted him about this. I've never said, no, you're clearly lying, man. And because I'm asking him because like, you're gonna say this, right? You're gonna tell me the truth of like where you're really at or what's going on. No, so just on several occasions he'd be like, no, I'm here, I'm at home, I'm doing whatever. And like, no, I would always see you on someone's story, like you're in the opposite place doing something totally like not like you're out, you're socializing, you're doing stuff, you're not at home. And it ticked me off a lot. It really was not fun because it's like, I'm not lying to you. I don't know why you feel the need to lie to me. It's a really weird thing to lie about too. Like, but I never brought it up until like, I think like a year and a half ago. And Luce was with me.
I was there.
You were in the back seat.
I was like, is this happening?
You had brought it up like something about like.
But I had no like intention of ever fucking like mixing the pot like that, you know. So then I had no intention of like, you know, bringing that up. But for you, it sparked a similar scenario, and that's where you went.
Because you had just mentioned something in the realm of the whole thing about like lying, like just something about that, and like, you know, someone saying one thing and doing the whole opposite, and like it's clearly black and white in front of you.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, that is interesting, Luce. That is interesting, Marquise. By the way, Marquise, that totally reminds me. Do you remember this day when it was your birthday and you said you stayed home? And Betty's like, he's driving. Yeah. He's just like staring straight ahead. He's like, and he's like, and then, do you want to know what I saw? You weren't at home. You were at this person's house with this person, and you guys are all drinking, hanging out. And he's like,
I'm caught.
And Liz is in the back seat. Oh, fuck. This got real.
This got real.
And he's like, what? What do you mean? He's like, yeah, because it was on Instagram. It's on their stories. And then it was another time, Marquise, when this happened, when we went to dinner. And then this time it's like, to be fair, I didn't know I was being recorded.
Oh, shit.
That was his answer. He's like, yeah, I didn't know I was being recorded all those times.
Inside.
And I told him, and this is a thing, and it's my hometown. I was like, I don't have to hang out with like everybody. Like, let's say this group of people want to go hang out and do this. Maybe like, you know, they go have wine, you know, like at wherever. I don't like to drink. That's not my thing. That's fine if you go hang out with them and you go do that.
Right.
like I'm not gonna feel like excluded or anything. The thing that irks me about it is because it's like, why why are you lying about this? It's like that.
Yes, and it's not like a subtle lie. It's an obvious lie. It's like there's extremes to lies, you know. A lie is a lie, but I feel like there's extremes where it's like, okay, now I'm going to give this example. So I have close people around me. I consider them family. They're not friends, they're family. They're more like family. And when it comes to the tea and relationships, you know, we all hear shit, and we're like, okay, who's with who's not with who. Well, I remember a time where basically I knew everyone was in the fucking loop. Everyone knew what the fuck was going on. We all knew
We all knew what was going on. Let's not pretend like it was clear what was happening.
And in one moment of, you know, like kind of bonding and togetherness, I was just like, all right, guys, like, let's be real. We know this is going on. Come on, who's with me? And crickets.
Dead quiet.
Dead quiet. Crickets. Wait, what?
What? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
When did that happen?
When did that happen? No, I don't. Wait, what? And so then I shut off. I shut off because it's like, I know you're being a liar, because I know you know. And it just sucks because it's like, I felt like there was a moment of bonding, a moment of unity, and then you just like fucking shit on it right now. And so then I just closed off and was just like, pass me the pizza, you know, move on. I moved on. But that kind of extreme where it's like, they could say, oh, actually, no, that's not true. I heard this. But no, it's more like, huh? Like, what?
Like, it wasn't even like a rebuttal. Like,
you look stupid.
It was just like, exactly. It was like, they made you like feel stupid. They made you look stupid.
Like,
it was
they're gaslighting you. Like, there's this narcissism, like, kind of being narcissism being circulated in the room, and then people are kind of making you out to be the crazy one, where they're gaslighting you because it feeds into their ego and their sense of like self-worth too, where it's like, no, I would never, you know, violate someone's business like that, so therefore I'm gonna make someone else think that they're crazy and stuff, where it's like, I thought this was a moment of unity and a moment of bonding, you know. Like, I thought we were all going to be real with each other. Like,
it's like how you'd preface it before. It was like, you know, I don't consider these friends. Like, we're family. We have such a history. And we're being real in this moment. And like, okay, hey, let's like pull back the curtain. Let's stop pretending. Let's address the elephant in the room. We all know this is what happened, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, and I know, and I know you know. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you bring it up, it's like they were, you know, they're just like, what? You know, they didn't want to break it because it's like, and so it's when I heard it, I was frustrated because I'm like, you know, I get the idea about this idea of like, it's an integrity or something, or like not wanting to say something of like, of someone's business or something, like that information was like given in confidence.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, but like we all know though. It was just like, it was just for you to like say like, this is a reality. It's almost public at this point.
Would you respect someone more if they said, I know what you're saying and I apologize, but this person has entrusted me with some information and I can't violate that, and it like, let's talk. I'm here for you. Let's all be in the same room, but like at the moment, that topic I can't really talk about.
No, I would much rather it be that, because, you know, I've thought of scenarios where like what if someone wants to come up and like ask me about like something about someone else, and like that's always the answer like I'd want to give. It's like that's really like their thing. Like I can't like fully go into detail or explain it, but it's like I think, you know, like, oh, you should talk to them, let it come from them. I don't want to like, it's not like my thing to say. Like if you could just explain it more in that sentence, like, no, like instead of just like playing dumb, like what?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about? Like I would rather have just been like, be upfront, like it's a thing, but it's like I just don't want to talk about it because it's their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all you have to say about something.
Like instead of tiptoeing.
Yeah, it's like, so that's frustrating when you have that like lie, when just it's gross.
I think, and it's funny because as we were talking about this right now, it reminded me of the movie When Harry Met Sally. Have you ever watched that?
No, I haven't. It's in my queue somewhere.
So in the beginning of the movie, it's this girl, Harry and Sally. They're basically they're moving to New York. They just finished college, and they're off to New York. And it's just by chance that they have to freaking share the ride. Carpool, it's like we just finished. We're the only people that know each other here in this universe. We not even know each other personally, but it's like, hey, we both need to get somewhere. Let's all carpool, save money. Why not? And so it was just through kind of like networking within the university. That's how they happened to, set on this journey. Well, in the car ride, what's it called? Harry was like, not trying to hit on Sally, but he's like, hey, like, girls and guys, wink, wink. And she's just like, like, how dare you? Like, my friend is your girlfriend. Like, how dare you, like, try and make a move on me? He's like, it's not a move. It's a pass. It's a compliment, this and that. But he's like, but you're right. Like, girls and guys can never be friends. That was the whole premise of the movie. Because the sex thing always gets in the way. That's basically, like, the whole, like, premise of the movie. Their motto. And that in their relationship or in their kind of friendship, like, that honesty and that kind of cold upfrontness, like, bonded them through the years. Because after that, like, they didn't see each other for another 5 years, and then another 5 years after that. And every encounter, it was like they still met up, and they still had a connection, but it was different than any other one. It's different because it was based on kind of like confrontation and kind of hearing what you don't want to hear, the cold hard truth. And I think that like how I put that scenario on you, where it's like, how would you take someone who's like, you know what, I can't tell you this, but I'm enjoying the moment with you, as to me talking about whatever you just asked me, I cannot say. Like, you kind of confronting that and respecting that is, you'll respect that a little bit different than other people kind of tiptoeing around things and saying like, no, guys and girls can be friends and the sex never gets in the way.
Never, not one bit.
But yeah.
You brought up a point, and I think, what was it you just said? You'd said about like when you approach someone, you say like, oh, and you ask about like a certain subject, and their response is like, oh, like I can't really talk about it, like out of respect and stuff. And I think there's a part of it where like I would almost feel like a sense of like exclusion, where it's like,
I'm not in the club.
Yeah, kind of like I'm not in the loop, I'm not on the list, I'm not in the in the clique or whatever like that. And so I think that's a natural reaction, because that even though that was like just a scenario you just threw out there, was like I like felt that. I'm like, heck, like why, what leaves me out of it? But then I have to like rationalize and like, no, sometimes it's like there are a lot of things that like people have told me that like I really wouldn't say, because they're like, someone could ask me about it, but it's like there's things that are more than just like tea and like, oh, did you know this person is dating this person now, or like, oh, did you hear this person like got fired because of this reason or something. Like there are things that like real hardcore life stuff that happens, or it's like oh, I've never repeated them, because like that's like real life, and I would never want to like break that stuff. And most of the time too, when I do hear those things, I forget them after a while. Not in the sense of like I don't like a priest, a confession went right out my ear. But no, I kind of do think that, because it's like, it's important. I'm glad you confided in me, but I'd never want to like bring it up and like,
or
so
cross that line with
yeah.
you.
Especially if I want to be a therapist one day, I really gotta like not say stuff. Oops.
No, you just don't use the real names.
That's true. You just change the names, you're fine.
That's what every writer does. They just hear some shit at work and they're like, this shit's good.
It got the T down. No, it was Sam who did this, not Kevin. Does this sound like Kevin at all? No. It was Kevin.
That girl in seasonal's not two-timing anyone.
Not at all.
And the married manager's not banging anyone from Garden.
Not any of the employees beneath their position. They would never. They have integrity. They and would.
That self-checkout cashier, she's not bisexual at all.
Allegedly.
No kink shade. Fuck yeah, do it.
Have you ever been in a situation where like you had to lie, like in terms of like integrity, or like you're just like, I don't want to get caught, or
I think that's what customer service is sometimes. Just fucking lying. Because not that I'm not going to say I never lied to customers or anything like that, or patients. You're not going to die. You're going to be fine. Like, you're
going to live.
You're going to live. But there was one instance recently where I was confronted with like myself and this customer. And this customer, like, she didn't bug me. What bugged me was like her premise and her motive, because it reminded me of my parents. And it just was like, you want to hear life is fine and dandy and you're going to get your order, but tell you the truth, like, that might not happen. Who knows who's going to freaking hijack a truck tomorrow, and it could be yours and your washer could be in it, like it might not get delivered, But then I think about it, I'm like, Luce, you're a fucking pessimist. You're just like expecting the worst. And I'm like, I am. But yeah, that's one instance where recently I've had to confront those two things. Lie to customers, yeah, it's gonna be in there. Yeah, just to get them off of the phone sometimes. But I think that's America too, in a weird, strange way. I've talked about this many times where people just don't want to do the bitch work, or don't want to do any, they don't want to wait in line. They don't want to have to ask for anything. And I think that is like, it's a quote unquote, you drop the ball. So when you drop the ball, you're basically making someone else do the shitty work. And that's in healthcare, in any fucking work. It's where people just don't want to do work. I work in medical records, and like people, like insurance companies are telling people to come ask for their medical records, when insurance companies are the ones asking for them. Like, they're making them do the bitch work. They're the ones, like, the patients don't get paid to fucking sit on the phone. The insurance companies do. And I think that just that gets passed around a lot. And because of that, because of people not owning up to shit, I think some people feel like they have to lie. And that they have to, they're pushed to lie. Is it right? No. But it's, I mean, you're giving them an answer. Would you rather have no answer or a answer? I think that's what.
Like, you're really just kind of pacifying people to be like, okay,
Yes.
we're going to say this so that you feel content with this interaction. Like, you're going to walk away feeling something was accomplished.
Yes. And when you pacify people, it's only like it only does it for up to an extent. It's a easy fix. It's not the repair itself, you know. It's a patch, it's a band-aid, you know. I had another interesting customer too who, and I think it goes along the lines of the bitch work and having to lie, but basically this couple came to return paint, right? And you're not supposed to return paint. Even at Home Depot, like there's a fucking sign that says no, like we don't return paint. Like it's your fuck up. They don't really say that, you know.
But that's what they mean.
But that's what they mean. And at Lowe's, we're more like, let me see what's up. He's like, it's more like, let's see what's going on. We can give you your money back. You're gonna have to jump through some hoops, but it's possible. And you would have to file a claim through paint, which is you file, like, freaking dial an 800 number, and it's, you know, just a fucking bitch. Another bitch work kind of esque thing. And because the store doesn't want to handle the complaint, they don't want to handle it there, so they're going to pass that on. Like, come on. And basically the story that the couple was saying was that, no, like, we told the person this, and we got the wrong paint. Believe us. But through all the documentation, they literally got what they paid for. So say, Xavier, you order a chocolate cake. You pay for a chocolate cake, and you get the receipt. It's a chocolate cake. But then, and I'm not saying that you're lying, but you said, no, I actually ordered a vanilla cake. Well, let me see what you got. Let me see your receipt and everything. You know, it's like, okay, it says chocolate cake on here. What you got is a chocolate cake on your plate. But you're saying you're ordering vanilla. And you're claiming this after you've taken already like 4 bites of the chocolate cake. And you come in a week later claiming it was the wrong cake. Like, you know, that's what it was. And so then they got upset. And policy is like, nah, they got to file a claim through paint. But if you bitch hard enough, you will get the shit done. And they wanted to see a manager. I don't know if you've had it in your times where it's like, I want to speak to the manager.
Oh, yeah. I have a story about that, but after yours.
So these people wanted to speak to the manager, and they would not move. And it's like, okay, well, I've already expanded my resources. I told them I'm not allowed to do this, you know, so I'm sorry. And yes, I'll get you a manager, see to hear you out, I guess. And the manager just, like, for the sake of not passing around the bitch work and not doing the bitch work, which is coming out and saying face to the customer, I don't blame her either. Stupid reason, because if you order chocolate cake, I mean, come on now. But the manager was just like, okay, yeah, just do the fucking return. Like, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, duh, like, this business is a corporation. Like, what's 2 fucking buckets of paint that, like, just fucking give it to them. You guys make how much, you know? annually and shit, like, I don't
It's
get
not
it.
gonna hurt them at all.
It's not gonna hurt them at all, and it just creates this like stress and kind of like angst in the situation, and you could cut the tension with like a fucking knife. And so the moment that the manager gives in or says, oh, yeah, just give it to them, the customer loses like trust in you. It's like, you see, you were able to do it and you just didn't want to fucking do it. Like, fuck you. Like, I hate you. Like, they look at you like that and you're just like, don't hate me.
It's not me.
It's not me. So they lose that trust in you. They lose that any trust or any remote connection that you've already built to with that customer at that point. It's fucking out the door when someone gives in and says, you know what, never mind, when they go back on their word.
Mm-hmm.
So going back, I feel like going back on your word is also lying. Would you say?
Kind of, because it's like it's like just reversing what you said. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go out for ice cream today, and then you're driving and you're like, no, never mind, we're actually gonna go to the hardware store. I just got to pick up some stuff. Like, you said ice cream. Well, no, not today. It's like, you lied. Yeah, it's like lying, because it's like this whole run around, and it's like, no, you didn't keep this integrity of what you said. I want the ice cream still.
You said one thing. You said we're going to do something, and then like, that's not what it was. French toast does not make
What?
French toast does not make up.
No, it doesn't. But I have a funny customer service story.
Ooh.
So for those of you who don't know out there, I used to work at this establishment called Ross.
Izos.
Where and I worked loss prevention there. It was the easiest job in the world. I did nothing.
Ooh.
I loved it.
No, you wore a snazzy black suit. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. I dressed in all black. I had a headset. I was in charge of things. It's really easy to move to management from that position. And I could have, but I got fired. So that's why I'm not there anymore. But, heck.
Their loss. But
I did a lot of random stuff. Like, my job's like, make sure no one steals. Fun fact, the main purpose of that job isn't to make sure customers don't steal. It's to make sure the employees don't steal. That's the number one thing. Is like, don't focus on those registers. Make sure they're not slipping a 20 out there. Whatever. That's what they're asking me. Make sure like they are ringing up, not their friends pretending and letting stuff get away. Like, that's what they really want me to watch out for. But I always did a bunch of like odd jobs with it too. Like they would have me like, oh, check this or clean up this mess over here, or like every once in a while I would answer the phone too. I was one time really busy and they said, can you just grab the phone? Like, it's hectic. And so I picked up the phone and
in your black suit.
Hello. And so I went to go pick up the phone, and it was a customer. And I think someone passed it off to me because they wanted to speak to a manager. And I'm not a manager technically at all in any of the sense, but they just gave the phone to me. He's like, figure something out. And I think it was one of the managers who told me that too. He was like, just talk to him.
Fuck.
Is this a manager? Yes. This is Xavier. How can I help you? And
like, I don't know, is it?
Was that money? But basically, so in our town we get a lot of winter visitors, people from Canada, a lot of like Germans too, surprisingly. Like, when I worked there, I would run to a lot of German and like Dutch people and stuff, like all the time. Like, they would love to visit here. so there was this older Canadian couple on the phone, and she was saying that I was there a day ago, and I bought this stuff, and I forgot this bag there, and it's this and this, and I spent this much money. And I was able to, like, look through, because when people would leave stuff, we would have, like, a little closet right at the front of the store where, like, we would just put that stuff at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, it is here. I have it. And I'm like, well, we'll hold it for you. You just come in and pick it up tomorrow or later today if you want. I was like, no, like, here's the problem. We're already at Canada. Like, we left already. We're gone. Like, we need... So, like, we can't get it, and I want my stuff. I'm like, we'll mail it out to you.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I'm like, what's your name? Mm-hmm. Your phone number is this, and this is your address. All right, no problem. I'm so sorry, but don't you worry. We're going to have it sent out to you right now. We've got it. It's right here. Relax. Thank you again for letting us know. We'll get out to you really soon. We'll go ahead and send you a notice as soon as it gets shipped out. All right, thank you. Have a good day. I don't know what I did with that piece of paper after that.
Did you make the shot when you tossed it in the trash? Like, did you...
Oh,
did you
yeah. I
make
was
it
like...
in?
It was perfect, just like my lie. I was proud of myself. I sounded just like a manager on that phone call. The lady believed me every second of the way.
Oh, my gosh.
And I just told my manager, yeah, we said we'd mail it out to her. I was like, okay. They're not going to do that. Too bad. You just lost your stuff. She believed me, though.
She's still waiting for a pic. Imagine. Like, no, it's coming.
It's coming, I know. I think I got an email about it.
They probably forgot about it. Come on now.
But yeah, so or now my current job, like, people will ask me, do you have this in the back? Or, like, I'm like, I can go check for you. 90% of the time, I actually do really go check. Like, I actually do go and I'll, like, hey, these Pop-Tarts are back here or whatever. Except those days where I'm busy and I just don't feel like looking for it. I'm like, I'll walk in the back room, stand there at 30 seconds. All right, let's go back out. I'm sorry I looked. It's not there. But most of the time I actually do try to actually, like, find the stuff.
I was just like, I'm picturing this old lady just sitting there by the mailbox in Canada and Alberta.
Just like, he said it's coming.
I've done that too, though, where I'm like, oh no, it's coming. Yep, right away. Your results are coming, and
They ain't going.
They ain't going.
Mm-mm.
And it sucks because sometimes it's like the sweet, nice people, and you're like, fuck, I forgot to do that.
That reminds you, one time when I was at Ross, this isn't about lying, but just another funny thing that happened. I traded shifts with someone. They're like, hey, can you cover the morning shifts and I'll take your afternoon? I'm like, yeah, no problem. They asked me like 2 days in advance, right? And I forgot. And so I woke up like at 11, no, like at 12 something. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to work in like an hour and a half. I'm fine. And I look and I get a call and I text them like, where are you? I'm like, I was supposed to go in today. I forgot. And then my coworker was like, I just came in anyways. It's fine. I'm like, okay, great. And I went back to sleep.
Just like go back to bed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hell yeah. No, have I like... Oh, me and Janet, we were bad with my brother, my younger brother. We used to tell him like Bigfoot existed and that
He does exist.
he was
I'll
outside the
prove that.
house and he was gonna get him. We used to tell him that. And funny thing, my mom would tell, and we didn't know this. We thought my mom was a perfect little angel, like daughter, you know. But my aunt was like, no. She used to tell me I came from a trash can, like. That my parents found me in a trash can, and my aunt was like 8 years younger than my mom. So my mom was like 16, and she's like relaying this to like a freaking 8-year-old. You came from a trash can. That's why you're dark.
Oh my god.
And then I'm like, is that true, Mom? Angie doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. I don't get these conspiracies. Like,
It's you sit in your bed and you just think of these conspiracies. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. Oh, let me finish the Marquis story real quick.
ooh, continue.
So anyway, we were in the car and I confronted him, and the thing he just owned up to was like, yeah, I did it, and I told him, like, I don't care who you hang out with, you don't gotta hang out with me all the time. I just think it was weird that you lied about it when you didn't need to. Like, I totally don't care. It's like, it's just a weird move, Marquise. Like, why'd you do it? And he's like, to be honest, I just thought I could balance both groups of friends and not saying anything. He's like, I just thought I could get away with it. And I'm like, at least you're
upfront about it.
Uh-huh. We laugh about it now and it's funny and stuff, but it was like, yeah, we hashed it all out and it's fine. But I just think it was just funny in retrospect now. At the moment I was mad. I wasn't happy about it. But
he was just like, fuck it. Yeah.
it's like, yeah. Yeah, you caught me.
Like Shaggy, it wasn't me.
I even caught it on camera. It wasn't me.
But yeah. Anything else?
I'm trying to think. I don't condone lying. Like, I think you should try to be, like, as integral as possible. I'm not perfect by any means by it. Have you ever lied to spare someone's feelings?
Me.
All the time.
I lie, try not to. Not tell the truth, probably more. There's a difference. Is there? No.
No.
I don't know though. I think it's hard to express too, like how you feel. And yeah, I think it's hard. It's not, there's no, I don't know. I don't think there's a real direct way to say how you feel. It kind of just comes out in a jumbled mess.
Uh-huh.
So when you're telling someone to spare someone's feelings something, like you're what you're doing is lying. But you're doing it for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't justify it either, but I mean, if it gets them through the day, or gets them through. I think sometimes it's necessary. If like, okay, I'm gonna put this weird scenario. What's that guy who had to like chop off his arm to like survive off of a cliff?
I know who it is. I can't remember his name though. But James Franco played him in the movie.
Yes. So that dude, well, he had to basically lie to himself to survive. He had to like picture a future, and he had to picture something else and like envision something and tell himself this lie at the moment, because his arm was stuck in a cliff. Like, he was gonna die if he didn't, do anything else. If he remained stagnant, he's gone and dead. But he was imagining these lies in his head. They were essentially lies because they weren't coming true. They were hopes and aspirations, and like kind of like, yes, I'm gonna get the girl in 8 years kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And I tried to keep a straight face for that one, but I couldn't. So yeah, he was imagining these things, but then but that got him through actually having a wife and kids, and later on,
like, he really did do it,
because he's like, I just have to do it already.
Mm-hmm. I get you. It kind of reminds me of Lady Gaga. She did the same thing. She didn't cut off her arm, but when she was 19 years old in New York, trying to become a pop star, she would later say in interviews, when she finally did make it, she was like, I lied to myself every day. I said I was a star. I said I'm the biggest star, you know, I'm doing all these great things, until one day it finally became true and I wasn't lying anymore. I really did all these things.
Damn.
And so it's sometimes you have to do that, like lie to yourself, because it's like maybe you're in you know, you're in a. Is it all good?
Let me see what he said.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, but sometimes you just gotta lie to yourself, because maybe the situation's tough and like, no, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna make it true one day. It's a lie right now, but I'm gonna make it true.
Ooh. Yep. You do have to lie to yourself sometimes to get you through something tough. And then you look back and you're like, fuck, I did that shit. I actually went through that shit. How the fuck did I do that?
I have no idea. But it's funny, but you do look back and it's like, I made it. I got through it, and I did it. Anything else, Liz?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Those are some. That's a truth right there. That's a harsh truth.
We Janet Nesia, you're sleeping. Undress.
That's another one. Quick, one more lie.
Yes.
I totally remember. This will be the last lie. Our last week's guest, Andres Rodriguez. That's his last name. Anyway, Andres,
the one that works at Tarjay.
He is a liar. If he was a treasure chest, he would lie at the bottom of the ocean. Let me tell you that. Because he said, once the podcast is done, I'm going to share it. Because he has a lot of Instagram followers. So it's like good promotion. He's like, don't worry, I got it. I told them, hey, it's out now. Okay, excellent. And you know what I see on his Instagram story? Nothing. Not one thing about this podcast. Andres Necio.
Better make up for it. Come on.
You got to share last week's and you got to share this week's.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So that's the biggest lie of them all.
All right. Good night.
Good night, guys.